Hey, what is up guys? Guitar here, welcome back to another Brave 9 video. Today I have a free-to-play guide for all the players out there who are still struggling with Ogdoad. So I'm going to show you guys a free-to-play strategy, basically using mostly 4 stars. Alright, so I would suggest you watch this video till the end because I'm going to teach you guys how to replace certain units that you do not have. Alright, so keep that in mind. But at the beginning, right now, I'm going to show you guys a quick full run first so that you guys get the idea of how much you want to invest in that particular unit and which should be your main damage dealer that helps out with the score. Alright, so let's jump into it. Okay, so just did a quick run to show you guys, and we're gonna have a look at the damage data right here so that you guys know a rough idea who is the one that deals the most amount of damage. So clearly you can tell Alicia, Cowley and Feral, they are the top 3, and Alicia and Cowley would be your main damage dealer right here, and they are the core units for this strategy. In fact, you actually do not need both of them. Alicia and Cowley, they are overkill. Like you can see, Alicia, she did 14 million points on her own, while Cowley gave 12 million points. So to graduate from Ogdoad, you only need 7.5 million. So obviously, you don't need both Alicia and Cowley. Now the good thing is, you don't need high skill level. Even for Cowley, she can work at +0. Alright, so I'm going to try to provide you guys a little bit of explanation as well. So hopefully, some of the new players can try to catch up how to deal with Ogdoad. Alright, so let's jump into the strategy itself. Now before you go around and say, oh, I don't have a Refutia or I don't have Elijah. So don't worry, there are replacements of each of these units actually. Most of them have replacements. Some of them are just too good to be replaced, but I'll try to include a bunch of replacements at the end. But before we talk about replacements and who you need to be replacing, etc., first things first, you need to understand how Ogdoad's skills work. Alright, so this guy, to deal a lot of damage to him, you need to go through DOT, alright, because he is immune to attack interference and he is immune to stats weakening immunity. So you can't deal with Ogdoad the same way you deal with Arcstar, because you can, for Arcstar, you can sort of do a lot of incoming damage boost, but for Ogdoad, the only way for you to increase your damage, your score, is through DOT. Alright, so there are certain exceptions of that. DOT is one of the few best methods. For example, this skill right here. Alright, so this DOT skill, Advanced Burn. You will find this skill on many units. Alright, in fact, I'm going to pull this skill up right now. So you can clearly tell, Velona has this skill. Plenty of 3 stars, they have this skill. Some of them might not last as long though, so you have to keep that in mind. So if you are trying to use a different unit, you will need to change the aspect of the turn order so that every time the turn will get reset by the 2 reset mercenaries that we will have, which is Kral and Joseph. Okay, so 12 turns, this is what we have on Charlotte, right? So Charlotte is probably one of the best candidate for Ogdoad. So the reason why is she boosts your score so high. She has Advanced Burn. On top of that, she also has Healing Prohibition. Now, Healing Prohibition is one of the few methods that you can deal bonus damage to Ogdoad, because Ogdoad is not immune to this skill as well. So this is counted under special. You can also use Stigma from what I know. So if you happen to have a Celia at high skill level, you can definitely bring her in. So try to stack as much of this as you can, as much Advanced Burn DOT and as much of the Healing Prohibition to increase the incoming damage that Ogdoad will receive. So Charlotte has 35% here, and she has 35% right here in the Advanced Burn. So she basically gives 70% increased incoming damage, which is insane. It's extremely good value for a 4-star. So most of the units that I'll be using right here will be 4 stars. You don't need a lot of 5 stars or legendaries to perform this strategy. Now, if you do not have Charlotte somewhat, I would say you can try replacing with Velona. Alright, so definitely somewhat doable. Now, there is Noelle as well, so she can be used to replace Charlotte as well. So Velona and Noelle, these are both good candidates to replace Charlotte if you happen to not have her. But keep in mind that your damage and your overall score will be slightly lesser because they do not have the incoming damage in the advanced healing prohibition. Alright, so next up we have Alicia. So Alicia, she does not have advanced burn, but she has incoming damage boost from her advanced healing prohibition. So this here in itself is 65%. Very strong skill to have. Now Alicia is a 4-star, so therefore she is pretty much free if you are hardworking enough to constantly try to fuse her, do the fusion. I think she needs, I can't remember what are the 4 units she needs. All of them are 3 stars. Alright, so make sure you fuse a bunch of those. Get all the 4 units that you have constantly. If I'm not mistaken, one of them is Cynthia. Every time you have Cynthia, do not throw her away, do not sell her, do not use her for anything, just level her up and perform the fusion. Alright, so use the 4 needed mercenaries for Alicia. Make as many Alicia as you can and skill her up using that method. Do not use skill books on her. You don't need skill books on Alicia at all. Use her duplicates that you obtain from fusion to skill her up. Okay, so do not use skill books on her. It's such a waste. I've heard players that they use skill books on units like Leto and Alicia. It's really a waste. So once you have a companion as well, if you have her at plus 15, 65%, this is going to give you an insane boost in your score. Alright, so pretty straightforward right there. That's the only skill that you need. Next, we have Joseph. Okay, so Joseph, the good thing for all free-to-play players out there, you only need him at plus 0. Yes, plus 0. Alright, you only need him for this skill right here. This particular skill. Endless Pain. And he gets it at plus 0. You don't need to skill him up. You don't need to plus 9, plus 10 him. You don't need to. Alright, plus 0, Joseph is going to work just fine. And Joseph is a 4-star, so he should be easily obtainable. Now next up we have Rafitia. Obviously mine is plus 15. Now, before you say, oh, Rafitia is pay to win, listen, you don't need Rafitia. You don't need Rafitia. So what I'm showing you here is a form that I've been using daily on my Ogdoad strategy. I'm going to replace Rafitia with something like Serendia. Alright, you're going to see I will still get tens of millions of score. So you don't need Rafitia at all. So Rafitia is just someone that I've been using because I have her. You don't need her at all. If you have Serendia plus 15, she's gonna work just fine. If you have Naresa plus 9, she's gonna work just fine. You need someone with decent crit rate, crit damage. Alright, so not many units have that. That will help improve your score significantly. I'll go into the details later on. But ideally you want a supporter that can give a ton of crit rate and crit damage. The problem with Serendia is Serendia does not give crit damage. She does give crit rate. So crit damage is going to help you boost your score, especially with our main damage dealers, which we're going to talk about later on. Alright, at number 5, we have Wester. So Wester is a unique one. So this skill at plus 0 gives 35%. If I'm not mistaken, at plus 1, it gives 50, and at plus 2, it gives 75%. You don't need skill level. Alright, plus 0 is going to work in this strategy just fine. Same concept. Now, Iron is very useful. Iron is the most crucial unit probably if you're running this strategy. So why is Iron so important? Iron has the ability to apply Stigma to the enemy and reduce Agi. So Ogdoad is immune to only attack interference and stats weakening. He's not immune to DOT. He's not immune to Stigma. Alright, so Iron Stigma reduce Agi by 75%. Now, that is extremely important because what Agi does is Agi reduces DOT's duration by half. So if this DOT, for example, it says 12 turns, if you don't reduce Ogdoad's Agi, which Ogdoad has 100% off, that means that he will reduce it by half. He has 100% chance of reducing it by half. So this skill from Charlotte, for example, will be reduced to 6 turns. So therefore, you want to have Agi. So this skill alone will only reduce Ogdoad's Agi by 75%. So it's not enough. You want to reduce further, which is why we have Elijah at number 7. Okay, you don't need Elijah. You can use Natalie. You can use Maya, if I'm not mistaken. You just need this skill right here, Concentrated Fire. So Concentrated Fire, so if I'm not mistaken, Natalie and Maya does have similar skill as well. That has the stats reduction alongside with the Concentrated Fire. So Elijah has minus 50%. If I'm not mistaken, Natalie and Maya has something similar but less. Alright, so Maya, concentrated fire at +8, hers is -30%. But if you notice, her concentrated fire is only 6 turns. So I would say Maya is probably the least useful of all. If you want, go for Natalie. Natalie will have, let's see, Natalie at +8, 8 turns. But ideally you want to get her to +10. So Natalie is a 3-star. It's way easier to +10 her. So 8 turns concentrated fire, that 2 turns is gonna make a lot of difference, alright? And she does minus the stats of 20%. For Ayan, you cannot really replace her. You really need her if you want to use this strategy right here. You need this skill right here. Enemies edgy minus 75%. As far as I know, she's the only one that can have the ability to reduce enemies' agility through Stigma. Elijah can be replaced with Maya or Natalie. I don't recommend Maya because 6 turns. Would recommend Natalie. If you do not have Elijah, use Natalie instead. Alright, number 8, we have Rydell. So Rydell, again, same reason. She does have this skill right here. Incoming damage plus 35%. So this skill is a stats weakening, so it will not work on Ogdoad. Alright, so her only main job is particularly from this skill. So again, if you do not have Rydell, don't worry. Alright, just use Velona or Noelle. So both of them are going to work just fine. If I'm not mistaken, Cordelia also has somewhat similar skill with the burn, but if I'm not mistaken, hers has slightly less turns. So you can try out Cordelia as well. She's a decent substitute. Alright, number 9. So Bellacier, this is our main damage dealer. So ideally, you want to have Bellacier with Rage Runes. Alright, so why Rage Runes? The idea here is to get Bellacier to crit, deal as much crit damage as she can. So she will have the Stigma right here from this one. Enemies max HP times 150% additional damage. So that's where all the damage comes from. And this particular skill, in case you guys are new and not familiar with how the max HP times percentage of additional damage works, this skill can actually scales off very well with crit damage. So if you have very high crit damage on her, she will deal insane amount of damage. So ideally for Bellacier, preferably you go with 2 Rage Runes. Alright, so Bellacier only needs a +8. Alright, so right here, Bellacier, so we're going to check out her skills. So at +8, this is where she gets it at 150%. Okay, so you don't need a high skill level Bellacier. At +7, you do get 100%, which is going to be pretty decent as well. If you can't +8 her, at least +7 her, because that's where most of the source of this damage from this score is going to come from her. Alright, and Cowley of course. So obviously if you go further to +15 onwards, you don't get anything in this skill. So +8 is the good stopping point. So that's the good part. It's a free to play strategy that you don't need to pull for companions. If you have skill books, +8 your Bellacier, she's going to work just fine against Ogdoad. Okay, so next up we have Kral. So Kral, you don't need skill level at all. You can just use him at +0. You don't even need to awaken Kral. As long as he has this skill right here, that's his whole reason for being right here, to reset the duration of debuff. So all the DOT that will be applied to Ogdoad will be refreshed and reapplied again. So which is why you want to have Kral and you want to have Joseph. Good thing is both of them can work at +0. At position 11, I have Cowley. Now, Cowley, again, I know some of you guys might complain that she's a 5-star and she might require investment. No, she does not. Yes, she's a 5-star, but you don't need to invest in her. She can work at +0. Okay, so some of you guys might not be familiar with her skill. So at +4, +6, she gets Taunt, right? But against Ogdoad, she doesn't need the Taunt. She just needs to be awakened so that she can activate this skill right here, the Reflective Counter, which will basically help her to reflect some of the damage when Ogdoad hits her on round 2. So this particular skill can crit as well. So preferably your Cowley has high crit rate. So I would recommend you can either go for Vital Runes with substat crit rate, or you can go for Rage Runes and Vital, depending. Alright, so I've heard some players getting higher score if they put 1 Rage Runes and 1 Vital Runes on Cowley. So for me personally, I've never tested that before, but it's kind of a hassle because you use Cowley almost in all the world bosses, and in something like a transport world boss like Zaratan and Tyrion, you need HP. You don't need crit damage or anything right there. So I don't think you want to be swapping your Cowley's runes constantly every single day, but that's up to you, right? If you want to get like just the highest score that you can, hopefully get you up to reach that, if I'm not mistaken, 7.5 million to graduate. But just remember, Cowley just needs to be awakened. That's it. That's the only requirements for her. +0 is gonna work just fine. Okay, so next up we have Feral right here. Okay, so Feral, you don't need Feral at all. So again, he's used mainly to help to boost the score. If you have him, sure, he can help boost your score a little bit. But if you don't have Feral, Callan will be able to help you boost the score as well. So again, Feral is replaceable and disposable. You can replace Feral with Cordelia, Noelle, like it's fine because his main source of stack is going to come from this skill right here, incoming damage plus 35%. Other than that, he does have this skill which helps against Ogdoad, but he's not entirely needed. You saw in the score earlier that Bellasear and Cowley can pretty much carry the entire strategy. So that's the entire strategy right here. It relies on you dealing the OT to Ogdoad, and obviously you want to reduce his agi down to 0%, so which is why you need Ayan, and then you need something with concentrated fire that can reduce stats because he's not immune to concentrated fire. Of course, you want to be stacking as much DOT while increasing the damage through some of these skills like healing prohibition and stuff, and Cowley and Bellasear will be your main damage dealer. So that's the entire strategy right here. So yeah, let's just do a quick run right here. I'm gonna show you guys what this strat is all about. Okay, so the entire objective, again, if you follow this strategy, you should be able to get, I can guarantee you should be able to graduate from Ogdoad easily, right? But if you have to replace some of the units, those that are recommended, Velona or Cordelia or something, make sure you pay attention to the turns because it's very important that you set it accordingly so that Joseph and Kral will constantly refresh the DOT duration, so which is why they are there for. Alright, mostly just to constantly help out and refresh as much as they can. Okay, so 7.5. I think my Bellasear did not crit right there. Usually she will be able to crit and deal more. So Bellasear, again, Bellasear and Cowley would be your main damage dealer. And this is an overkill strat for sure. Jacqueline piece, nice. So right there we got 23 million. Bellasear herself did 19 million. Okay. So Cowley did 12 million. So obviously, wait, what just happened right there? Oh, okay, I just completed the, okay. So let's go for one more. So yeah, you don't need to get so high. The graduation point is 7.5 million. So if you don't have Cowley, you can try with just Bellasear alone. I'm pretty sure you can graduate easily, get that last ancient coins, skill books, and diamonds. So just get everything. Hopefully this will help you guys out to get the last score. Okay, so let's do one more run. And I know some of you guys want me to try without Raphithia because I know many new players prefer Natus over Raphithia. I can understand that. Alright, so let's try something else. I'm going to bring in a supporter. We're going to use... Ideally, you want to have something with crit damage and crit rate as well. So we're going to try something like Isabel, for example. Alright, so I feel like Isabel is a good candidate. Where is she? Supporter. So she's a pretty budget unit. So I do have mine at plus 15, but I'm pretty sure plus 14 is going to work just fine. Just pay attention to her skills. If I'm not mistaken, from 14 to 15, it's 12 turns to 18 turns, but it should be fine. So we're going to bring up Bellasear and Cowley so that they receive the Isabel's buff range right there. Okay, so let's try it out. I guarantee you, you're going to be able to get pretty similar, maybe 20 million, 30 million, but it should be pretty similar. Alright, you don't need Raphithia for this strat. It's just that I prefer Raphi because I feel like she's much more flexible. I can try out different strategies at any time during testing. Let's see what's the score like. Alright, so we have Alicia going in. And if you look at Ogdoad, look at the amount of burn and stuff. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. Kablam. 3 million. Yup. Look at that. We are getting 10 million already. So pretty much we have already graduated. Alright, so there we go. You don't need... Do we use any legendary? No legendary. Alright, no legendary. No Raphithia. No legendary required. So 29 million. Okay, so you saw it here first. There's no legendary required. I did use Isabel right there and I've proved to you guys that it can work. Mostly 4 stars. Alright, 4 star Charlotte, 4 star Alicia, 4 star, 4 star. Wester is a 5 star, but he doesn't need skill level. He can be left at plus 0. Same goes for Cowley. Alright, 4 star, 4 star, 4 star plus 0. Elijah can be replaced with Natalie, remember? Can be replaced with Natalie, which is a 3 star. and Feral can be replaced. You can use Kellen, which is a 4-star, or you can use Velona or someone else. Alright, so that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. So this is the strategy that I think almost every single player out there should be able to do. Yes, you might not be able to build some of these units if you're just starting out for a couple of months, but do keep in mind these are all 4 stars, and if you continue to pull for the units that you want in the upcoming banners, eventually you're gonna get some of them. So be patient. Alright, if you don't have all of these units, I've already provided some of the replacement units as well. So try and craft something out. There's a chance that you will be able to do it. So yeah, give this a shot. Okay, so if you guys have any more additional questions regarding World Boss Ogdoad, feel free to write it down. Write it down below in the comment section. Alright, I'll try my best to get to you when I can. And of course, if you want to join the Discord, I'll have links in the description. You can come over to my channel and you can ask all the players there as well. And hopefully the community will be able to help you out regarding certain other aspects of the game as well. So as always, if you're new here, subscribe, give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.